Evening viewers, welcome to another session of Mazungumzo. This is your host, Dr. Gilbert Githere. The same thing, we're continuing with Being on Time by Martin Heidegger. And we're almost in the middle of the analysis. And it's getting more interesting. And in this program, I also kind of bring a song to your homes, so we can relax as we gain knowledge. So today, I'm just going to try Ed Sheeran's song, You Look Perfect. Bear with me, I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. I never knew you were that someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time, but darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the ground, listening to our favorite song. Baby, when you said you look a man, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dream. I hope that some days I share her home. I found a love to carry more than just secrets, to carry love, to carry children of our own. We are still kids, but we are so in love, fighting against all odds. I know it'll be alright this time. Darling, just hold my hand, be my girl, I'll be your man. I see my future in your eyes. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When I saw you in that dress, looking beautiful, I don't deserve this. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, listening to our favorite song. I have faith in what I see. Now I know I have met an angel in a person, and she looks perfect. I don't deserve this. You look perfect tonight. El Sheridan, you look perfect tonight. That's a beautiful song to start our program. I hope you enjoyed it. Today we are going to go into our part 9. Interesting? Martin Heidegger being on time. So I'll put my guitar down and then we will continue. Thank you. Sorry for that. But 9 is it's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece, you know. Let me just look for it. Bear with me. I think I had gone too far on it. Okay, here we are. Let me just kind of scrutinize whether I have the right thing. Bear with me. Bear with me. Because I think, okay, here we are, part 9. It is being there as understanding. Because there, as we talked in the other program, when you hear there, is outside in the world, where there is worldhood. And entities out there are present at hand. They haven't yet been discovered by our knowledge and also ready to hand. So these are the entities which haven't acquired meaning, and they are there. So Martin Heidegger, the word there actually is a struggle between birth and death. It's the survival of the human being. Dasein is starting to acquire knowledge, and this disclosedness begins to work onto its state of mind. Understanding is one of the characteristics that Dasein is associated with, which is so important when it comes to its existence. And these pieces are kind of repetitive. So bear with me, they are kind of repetitive. So you will find that understanding, interpretation, in the existential, ontological, phenomenological facility of Dasein. That's mouthful, but that is actually our magic wand. If something doesn't pass through that conveyor belt of existential, ontological, phenomenological facility of Dasein, there's nothing which will become understandable, because that's the magic wand. It's like reason and logic. And we go back in the primordial time. You know, when institutions had not interfered with knowledge so much, everything was made to help the self. As Parmenides, the Greek philosopher, said, all man is supposed to do is take care of the self, until the institutions like religion, bear with me, came in and changed what we knew in the primordial as the most essential. Possibilities are what Dasein has in plenty. As entities to utilize in its potentialities for existence, there are those possibilities that are a must to relinquish out there to help in the existence of design. So you see the word possibility, you just take it for granted. But possibilities is one of the entities that have been given meaning, because entities are out there until they are given meaning by language. That's why you see there is state of mind, there is understanding, there's being flung out there or falling out there in the survival world of others, and there is discourse. Discourse is language. So entities have to be discovered or unconcealed in the world of a worldhood so they become meaningful. Like the word possibility is one of very important aspects of design, of existence. You must have possibilities. You can be successful, you can be educated. There are all kinds of possibilities you have out there when you are in the world. That which is ready to hand is discovered as such in its serviceability, its usability, and its detrimentality. So it gets spoiled. Detrimentality. Now, this is another thing over here, that sight is a possibility that doesn't have. So you see possibility. You can have sight. You can have hearing, is a possibility you have. So you can see the word possibility is also so important in the realm of understanding and knowledge, because you have got to have possibility. And it is so important, for it allows him to see unconcealed entities. So you can see sight, which is a possibility, allows one to see those entities which have been unconcealed. This ability is parcel in understanding. Design, in acquiring understanding, has the ability to project into the world around and within him to identify entities essential for his existence. Then there is things like interpretation, circumspection. Then design gets involved in deciphering the ready-to-hand entities, whichever is before him. So you can see entities become just words, but they are so essential. You have to use interpretation, circumspection. You got to inspect things around you. All possibilities inferred above are all a variable of understanding. Understanding helps in facilitating foresight, ability to conceptualize that which is ready to hand right before him, being design. Do the folk structure of understanding and as the structure of interpretation show an essential ontological connection with the phenomenon of projection, and does this phenomena point back to primordial state of dozens being? That's the quotation directly from, you can go back and you can decipher it. The meaning is obtained when entities are disclosed. They are made known to design. This situation has three key steps, and these are forehand, foresight, and then lastly, foreconception. If you project understanding on a board, the entities it holds will be visible, and this will be all entities being associated with. And with here we mean design. So you can see if understanding became like a physical thing and you projected it on a board, entities will be visible. And funny enough, as I digested this topic, everything that humans speak about, in most cases, they are all the time discussing about entities. So you can see the entities who make Dasein what he is, they make his being, are the daily things he's discussing to acquire knowledge. So that's the interesting part, that Martin Heidegger, as you read further, and this I've given you a caveat which comes after, entities are actually things which language has given meaning. And that's the construction of sentences. Because we can only have meaning when we have sentences well structured and they have a meaning. So those are entities. That's how entities are deciphered, are concealed, because they are hidden, present at hand. They are behind a screen of the environment and the world and the worldhood. And through existential, ontological, phenomenological facticity, finding to know who Dasein is, we're able to bring the entities out, and we know these are the entities. So the word entities is so mouthful, is so actually is everything. So you can see being and time. Now being is formed of entities, and then time comes in. Because time is temporality, and it temporizes. And now time has another magic wand in its creation. Because time and transcendence, you can do time travel. Let's say you lived in Nairobi or Johannesburg or Ouagadougou. And one time you are seated in your room in California, somewhere in Stockton. You can actually time travel and go back when you are living in Ouagadougou, in Burkina Faso. And you can visit actually the streets. Now, time, space allows you to do that. And the ability of the mind and the power of the temporality and temporizing. That's a mouthful. It's coming. When we go, we will see it ahead of this discussion. Similarly, all entities projected in Dasein's understandings are the ones that are in the world a priori, before, primordial. They are there, but they have to be discovered. And this is acquisition of knowledge actually put in a different way. Now, you see in Hegel's phenomenology of spirit, phenomenology of history, Hegel uses achieving of or attaining of consciousness exactly as a method of identifying entities. So you see, Martin Heidegger goes one route, and Hegel goes another route. In seeing who Dasein is and how he acquires who are the beings which make him up, is actually route to knowledge, understanding, state of mind, discourse, falling, conception, reason, logic. All those lead to identifying what entities are out there that make Dasein's being. The being of Dasein to itself is always in a process of discovery. For example, the entities that are understood through a projection, like the one stated above, become significant and associated with Dasein, and they become an arsenal in his game of existence. He uses them as a tool to improve his life. All the entities, like a hammer. We discussed the hammer before, and the hammering, and the way it becomes ready at hand. It helps you to build a shelter. When entities are discovered within the realm of Dasein's understanding, then they are considered genuine entities, for they are directly associated with Dasein's being. These entities are said to have meaning, but it is important that people do not think it is the meaning that has been discovered. No, it is the entities that are of being that have been given meaning. Those entities who form the being of Dasein are the ones which have been given meaning. So you can see entities have meaning. Excuse me. And that meaning is so important to Dasein. It makes him survive in the environment. That I have highlighted this thing with the blue. Meaning is the dwelling of intelligence. When a sentence articulates intelligence, then we say the sentence has meaning. That's a very, very good sentence for you to know. Intelligence is made up of sentences that you understand so thoroughly in your psyche and in your being, and they're the ones actually which make you who you are. A biochemist, a judge, or a lawyer, an attorney. Meaning also is said to bring out what is interpreted by understanding. It is also the pedestal on which intelligibility or something rests on or stands on. Meaning is the equivalent of feelers when it comes to an insect. It guides the discourse to an intelligent conclusion. So as we continue, you can see meaning. It's not it is like mood. It is not in the format of an entity. It's more higher than an entity. It gives us variable. Understanding is an entity, but meaning is higher. Meaning is a variable of understanding and interpretation. The existence of Dasein relies wholly on its understanding and interpretation, for that meaning is essential for the survival of Dasein. Meaning being essential for existence of Dasein, then it must be constructed using the entities that are key to the being of Dasein. The totality of Dasein is made up of meaning, simply meaning its purpose in being in the world is complete. I'm just taking my time, checking my time. Assertion. Many of the things that the human beings do, they use assertion. These are confident, forceful statements of fact and belief. Assertion. So actually in the structure of meaning, assertion is used as a tool it's like a magic wand. Reason, logic, assertion. These are magic wands. Oh, that guy is using reason to get to where he's getting in the discourse or in the rhetoric. Reason, logic are used in bringing out facts, truth, in a discussion or in a discourse. Letting an entity be seen for itself. Validity comes in when Dasein is acquiring knowledge. Validation, signification. If you go and study Ferdinand Saussure, he's a linguist. He studied deeply linguistics, especially signs and symbols. Signification, validity comes when Dasein is acquiring knowledge about entities that make him who he is. Judgment helps understanding be able to decipher the validities of the assertions used to verify the authenticities of the entity being unconcealed and allowed to speak for self. Validity, according to Martin Heidegger, is an ideal being. So you can see here we are going deeper and deeper in the ocean, the blue ocean of knowledge. We are going into deep waters now. These are not shallow waters. These are deep waters for expert swimmers and people who can surf big surfs, like the cow, a cow in Hawaii, in North Shore. It's the biggest surfing session in the world. It just happened this month or a few weeks ago. Eddie Cow, the great Hawaiian surfer. So in this section, we are surfing high tide, 25 feet. That's not for novice. You got to be real and expert. So the knowledge we are acquiring here is deep gymnastics. Logos is another entity that Dasein can utilize for his existence. It is becoming clear that words also fall in the realm of entities. Just simple words are tools for the survival of Dasein. So you can see also in this section we have being there and discourse, language. Because when you're out there, your survival very much depends on language. That's why in my dissertation, I looked at the indigenous people, language, and acquisition of knowledge. So you see, previously people had a misunderstanding that knowledge comes with you speaking English. No, you can speak any language and you'll acquire knowledge. Language is the only tool you need to acquire knowledge. And it doesn't have to be Chinese, English, French. It can be Kikuyu, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Nyosa. And you can acquire great knowledge just through your language. And that's one thing people must understand. And that's the topic for another day. And it's controversial. Dasein has developed intellectually. He has gained knowledge. In the above paragraphs, we see him acquiring necessary rules of the game of language. Now, Ludwig Wittgenstein also dealt with the languages as a tool. Oman van Quine also dealt with language as a tool of knowledge acquisition. And that's how I came to arrive at you only need language to acquire knowledge, nothing else. Even mathematics, which people, revere or finances and all this, knowing how to calculate finance, is all a variable of language. There's nothing which operates the entities with meaning to help human being to develop are all a variable of language. That's why you see the Vienna Circle took language and actually gave it a mathematical aspect of formulas, like they evolved statistics. Like just now in the world of computers, artificial intelligence, language has helped us to develop algorithms. And the algorithms have taken us further into the nanotechnology, robotics, cybernetics. All these things have become possible because of language. So here I have actually Saussure and language. Saussure contends that language must be considered as a social phenomenon, a structured system that can be viewed synchronically as it exists at any particular time in brackets. Language at a certain particular time, it directs you in a certain way. And diachronically, as in bracket, as it changes in the course of time. Because language also evolves, is dynamic. It actually rejuvenates itself, or it rebuilds itself, it reinvents itself to fit with the time. So that you can see, like now, if you go in England and you listen to the English the Kenyans are speaking, and the English they are speaking in England right now, especially in London itself, which people call Cockney. It's evolution of language to fit with the social phenomena of the day. That's another discussion for another day. Man shows himself as the entity which talks. Now you can see that's a deep one. That's one you should digest. That can even be your narrow topic. Man shows himself as the entity which talks. Talking, listening, shouting, responding, singing, and scolding. Those are heavy. Those make Dasein complete. Discourse actually means listening. People think language is you speak more. No, language in discourse, when properly used, actually is listening is more important. Language is one thing that can be said to be at the center of Dasein's existence. They. Now they, this word they and there and here, to Martin Heidegger, they are everything. They. Sometimes you can misuse the word they, because they means others. Because Dasein, for some reason, even for him to understand himself as he exists, he very much looks at others. Because as we go ahead and look at what is the most what does Dasein revere and lives for so much? Dasein lives for two things: birth, to be born, and death. And all existence of Dasein is confined in those two words. His struggles and all these meanings and entities that he is in search of, they are all trying He's trying to understand birth and death, his demise. Anticipation. It is called anticipation, and it creates resolution. How will he approach that anticipation and expectation that at one time he is a finite entity? He'll come to the end because time does not allow him to be infinite. Its temporality is temporary, and it temporalizes. Ecstasy. 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 Complicated one. I'll try to check the spelling. Forgive me. Now, and you can see now we are reaching a point where Dasein is always concerned and caring for those around him. In his analysis, Martin Heidegger calls those around Dasein they, and this issue is most important in Dasein's concern when it comes to its daily existence. Because a human being is not an island. A human being is only a human being because of the others. Ubuntu. I am because they are. The most important one to Mandela, Ubuntu. Totality of Dasein whole. Totality of Dasein is so critical because Dasein, actually, Martin Heidegger is searching for totality of Dasein and holiness. Can he be whole? No. Dasein cannot be whole and total. No, because of why? He's infinite. He's finite. He's not infinite. He's not immortal. He's mortal. He'll come to an end. So that particular entity and particular characteristic is one thing human beings are in search of. And the totality of man in most of his actions is centered on search for totality and holiness. And he just keeps it behind his mind and works as if he is not finite. You think a human being is infinite by his behavior, but that is a survival technique. And it is so crucial because if you look at human beings and the way they behave, you kind of say, they are forever. But they know at the back of their mind, they anticipate at one time they'll come to an end. And that's why existence becomes so important, because you can only exist because you have an end. Anxiety. You know, anxiety, people look at anxiety and they think, where does anxiety come from? Anxiety is a priori. The world itself is made of anxiety. That's why when anxiety gets you, you don't even know where it comes from. You just hear you're anxious. Why? Because you have a demise. You're always contemplating of the end, and that's anxiety. And don't confuse anxiety with fear. Fear does not exist. Fear is just your imagination. Dasein loves its freedom, and in doing this, anxiety is triggered to take away this potentiality for freedom. Anxiety is that entity in Dasein that brings us to stare at its freedom, close and feeling how freedom tastes. The freedom humans have, part of anxiety. At the same time, this state of mind lets Dasein understand its state of being in the world. Being in the world reveals itself to be the source of anxiety for Dasein. It is Janus' state for Dasein, self-same anxiety, staring at anxiety. Because Janus is two images in the Greek philosophy looking at one another. Anxiety and freedom. Being. That's why anxiety is part of the world. We are part of the world. The world cannot be worldhood, cannot have worldhood without Dasein, without us. Once we stop to exist, I kind of suspect,